Hi, I'm Larry Byman. Welcome to another episode of my journey through Parkinson's, this time looking at beekeeping, which can be done even when suffering with Parkinson's. I've had to make a few adaptations. The very first is using a flow hive invented by a father-son duo in Australia, which makes the harvesting of honey much easier. You see pictures of the setup here. And it also allowed me then to seriously consider getting bees. 2019 I started with a hive of Carniolan bees and set them up. Was able to, with the help of a mentor in the area of beekeeping, learn tons more than I knew about bees, having been a biology teacher for numerous years. And watching them fanning at the door to, as you see in this picture, spread out their pheromones of this is our hive, this is where we live. It's been absolutely a fascinating journey. One which has helped to prolong the health of my brain. A conference that my wife and I attended years ago concerning Parkinson's suggested to those of us at the conference that learning new things, challenging your brain, would help to ward off some of the other problems that come with Parkinson's, particularly dementia. So, embarking on this journey, we have learned tons, and here's a picture of my mentor in the orange. He came over to help teach me how to do hive inspections, look for brood, check to see if you've got adequate numbers of bees and eggs being laid, resources being stored. Are they bringing in pollen? And in that whole process, I discovered there was an aspect of beekeeping that I had not thought much about, and that was the need to open up the hive and then also manipulate the heavy boxes, because each box, especially with honey, can end up weighing 70 pounds. So I decided to, with the help of my bee mentor and my grandson, designed and built an arbor where I keep the bees so that I'm able to, using a pulley system, lift the heavy boxes up, off, and onto a bench when doing hive inspections. And here you see our first honey harvest of 2019. We were able to harvest close to maybe 1.5 gallons of honey. We got a late start that year because I didn't really get going on this until almost the latest date that you could start and have a successful season of any amount. Here is you see the honey coming out of the flow hive frame. I've got the jar protected with a Ziploc baggie to keep insects, bees, wasps out of the honey as it's draining out. Because of this invention, there's no need for all the other equipment that you normally would have to extract honey from frames. And it's just a marvelous thing to watch the honey flow into these jars, fill up, and it's ready to use. Clean, no need to be concerned about filtration of any kind. It's a beautiful golden treasure. The most amazing thing of this is that the bees are not harmed at all in this process. Here are the first 2 jars of honey that we harvested, and then I designed a small little gift pack that we gave to various individuals, in which I think it's about an 8-ounce jar of honey could be stored. And then getting ready for winter, putting on a candy board and a quilt box, sealing them up, and hoping for the best. However, my first colony didn't make it. And so in the second year, I decided to add a second colony. And we got the flowers planted around the arbor, installing the nukes then. We got 2 of them this year. They were both Italian nukes. And unfortunately, in this particular nuke that I'm installing now, I was unable to find the queen. And so I went back 3 or 4 times over the course of about a week, searching through the frames to see where is the queen. Could not find her. My mentor told me keep looking because sometimes they are hard to locate. Couldn't find her, and eventually saw that there were no new eggs being laid within the colony, and I needed to order a queen. I got them from Lappy's Queen Supply, and they were a special hybrid called Saskatraz, which was hybridized in Saskatchewan, Canada. It is more varroa mite resistant and also requires a smaller colony for overwintering, and yet has good honey production. And put the new queen in. Unfortunately, I made a couple mistakes, and the queen got loose before she was totally accepted, and the colony destroyed her. Back to square one. Had to buy another queen. This time it took. And this colony eventually has thrived and produced a very good amount of honey this year. Very good honey. They've been a wonderful colony of bees to tend, quite docile, and protect their resources vigorously. They at one point we had some trouble with robbing, and I had to put on a anti-robbing device, and worked well. They built up lots of resources. You see here that they're all tucked in. I got a little smoke on the side of the hive, and the little side box there is supplemental feeding, and I've got it closed up inside that little removable box, which I designed in order to help keep robbing down. I also added the cement pad, as the flow hive comes with an adjustable base so that you have everything leveled out the way you need it. The second nuke I put into what we call the blue hive, and this one had a queen. I found her when I was installing the frames. I found the queen while installing the frames. She was easy to spot in this one. Very, very active and full nuke of bees. This hive took off, reproduced, numbers skyrocketed rapidly. Didn't take long before I had to add a second box on top because of the rate of its expansion. When installing the frames, it's advisable to keep them in the order that they are in the nuc box because of the way that bees tend to set up frames for brood resources such as pollen and honey, and they do it in a certain fashion. So you see I took the center frame out and it's going into the center of the open space in the 8-frame box, and then as I take each subsequent frame out, I put them into the same orientation as they were before. This keeps the bees feeling like they're still in the same colony that they were in when they were transported. You see that the each frame is literally covered solid with bees. And it was on this second frame out that I found the queen, and so I was very pleased that I didn't have to keep searching heavily to see whether she was there or not. And I did this on the white hive also, added a pollen patty just to make sure that they had enough protein resources available. I needed to adjust the patty a bit so that the opening on the top of the inner cover was not covered, so that they would have adequate ventilation. I realized that I had put it too much in the center when I started putting the cover on, and that the inner hole was blocked, so I slid it over the side and added the inner cover. Put on the roof top. Sometimes you have to check a few times to make sure that you get it lined up appropriately so that it helps to keep the hive dry. If you enjoyed this video, please take time to like. If you've not subscribed before, please subscribe. Leave any comments below. And I have put some references in the notes below concerning the Flow Hive, which can be found at honeyflow.com on the web. You can get lots of information about how this particular system works.